Hello, welcome or welcome back. I am Andréa B. And happy Friday. Happy Friday for me. Happy day to you, whatever day you are choosing to watch this video. And before I jump in, beverage. Guess I'll open it first and then we can cheers. Cheers. So, today's topic is very important and on time for me, at least, because I have been actively practicing resting more than usual, shifting the way that I get rest, everything involving rest, and not just sleeping, but actually it's just sitting my butt down, not doing too much, and using the time I have to do what I need to do, which includes resting, using the time I have to rest when needed. So I will cover all of that and get into some scripture to help me out. So Psalm 127 verse 2 says, "It is vain for you to rise early, to retire late, to eat the bread of anxious labors, for he gives blessings to his beloved even in his sleep." So, today's topic is about rest. The Bible encourages rest, but for some reason, a lot of people have this narrative that they will sleep when they're dead. What good will that be to you to go through your life with little sleep and rest just to wait until you're dead to start sleeping? If the Bible encourages rest, if we have the ability to rest and sleep, why would God not want us to do exactly that when necessary? I can't answer that for you. Ask yourself that. If you have ever said, "I will sleep when I'm dead," ask yourself, why wait until you're dead? If sleep is necessary now, why wait? What are you putting sleep on hold for? What is more important to you than getting rest? And how good will you be at anything if you are not getting adequate sleep and rest? Ask yourself those questions. So basically what Psalm 127:2 is saying is that it is useless to wake up early in the wee hours of the morning just to go to sleep late at night or even past that. Wake up in the wee hours of the morning, go to sleep in the wee hours of the morning. It is useless to eat the bread of anxious labors. So if you are just lacking sleep, anxious, moving and constant going, it is useless. And the last part, he gives blessings to his beloved even in his sleep. Do you know how amazing that is to be blessed while you are sleeping? I love the sound of that because what else do people say? I make money when I'm sleeping. That's one way you may be blessed. What else can happen while you're sleeping? Your body can be healing and repairing itself from any pain and injury. You are being covered and protected. Think of all the many ways that you can be blessed, even in your sleep. If God is willing to bless you when you are asleep, if I were you, I'd want to go to sleep. It's just me. Just me. So, next verse I want to share with you all, which is Psalm 46, verse 10. Be still and know, recognize, understand that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Be still and know. Be still. Be still. How many times your parents have to tell you to be still and sit down somewhere? What does being still mean? It means not moving. Just at rest. Just be still. And in this verse especially, not just being still, but knowing and recognizing that I am God. Which means when we are still and we are not constantly moving and so anxious about what comes next and carrying fear, we can know God, know who He is, trust Him, which means when we are still, He is fighting battles for us. He is providing for us, and we can trust Him to do His job. There are times where you are being asked to be still and to just trust. And if you do not answer that call, you are missing an opportunity to receive your blessing. You are just getting in the way, making it harder for yourself when God is trying to show you that He has it figured out. And if you don't trust God to show you that He has it figured out, you're basically saying, I know what's best. I know better than God does. My way is better. I will just do it my way. And God is trying to show you that there is a better way. All you have to do is rest for a little bit. Just be still. Just know who I am. And I will show you. Same as Psalm 127 verse 2. When you are still, and know that rest is not just sleeping. Rest can be sitting, closing your eyes for 5 to 10 minutes, taking a short nap, or even just eyes closed and just relaxing. If you take time to even just sit quietly and to just slow down your mind and your thoughts, that may be enough for you to get through the next task, whatever it is you have to do. But if you don't even give yourself that, you are missing an opportunity to receive that blessing. And the answer you're looking for may come in that moment of rest. But if you're just constantly going to the next thing, again, you are making it harder for yourself. You won't hear that answer when it arrives. And usually what happens is people say, they don't need sleep, and people are afraid of sleeping because they don't want to so-called waste time when they could be doing other things. People say, I don't have time to sleep, I have to study, I have to go, I have to work, I have to do all these things. And eventually your body will become burned out. Even working out, some people don't believe in rest days from the gym and any other physical activity because there is a pressure to keep going, keep grinding, and people think sleeping is a waste of time when they could be doing other things. So eventually your body will crash, and it can be worse. That could be for a day, a week, a month, years, that your body is just crashing down because it did not get the rest and repair and the recovery period that it needs. Next verse. Genesis 2, chapter 2, verse 1 through 3, right in the beginning of the Bible. So the heavens and the earth were completed, and all their hosts or inhabitants. And by the seventh day, God completed his work which he had done, and he rested, ceased on the seventh day from all his work which he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it as his own. That is, set it apart as holy from other days, because in it he rested from all his work which he had created and done. What kind of God would we have if he rested and told us not to? Just, I get to rest, you don't get to rest. What kind of God would he be if he gave us the ability to rest and we could not use it? What would be the point of that? God himself gets rest. If God can rest, why can't we? All the work that God did, and he still found time to rest. Now, the work we do on this earth is beautiful and it is very important. However, that work is no more important than the work that God has already done. And if you're telling me that God can rest after doing all that great work, we can also do the same thing. And so I say that because we are working and we are functioning for a greater purpose. And sometimes it's okay to put that on hold to get rest. If what you are doing is causing you to sacrifice that rest and sleep that you need, you're saying how important it is over resting when needed. I emphasize needed because some people are resting too much, and that is a sin. It's in the Bible. Being a sloth is a sin. Unless you are a sloth, you're listening to this, so you're not a sloth. So that is a sin for you to act like you are a sloth and just sleep all day and just lie in your hammock. There is a such thing as too much rest. When God is calling us to get up and work, that's what we should do. When he's calling us to rest, that is what we should do. So, how important to you are the things that you are giving your time to, that you are willing to sacrifice that rest, that care that you actually need, the rest that your body desires? You want to take care of everything else but not yourself because you're not giving yourself the rest that you need. A lot of people work through severe headaches and severe pain and lifting such heavy loads when their body is screaming out for help. And we ignore those signs because we think we know best. We think we got it. We think we should keep going. And there is so much pressure, especially from society, to achieve a bunch of things. And some people are called lazy for not doing as much as others. So the person next to you may be working 3 jobs and then they look down on you for only having one. Oh, you're lazy. I look at what I do with all my time, and all you're doing is this. I work 3 jobs and I have all this going on. I don't make excuses. They're trying to hold you to their standard, expecting you to operate like them, making you feel bad for resting, causing you to feel guilty for resting. There are periods where we may be required to do more work, and that does not need to be a continuous thing for prolonged periods where we are sacrificing our sleep. I'll share an example. This was maybe 2019, and I was working at the time, maybe 2018, around that time. But the point of the story, I was working part-time and I was also in school, and I saw a classmate of mine on Instagram, and I went to school with her in undergrad, so by this time I was in grad school. I saw her on Instagram talking about how she works 2 jobs, and I messaged her and I asked her, how does she do it? How does she balance that with everything else she has going on? And she basically said, I just get it done. I make sacrifices and I grind and I set these goals so I can achieve them. And I was inspired by that because for a while I was thinking I should be working more. There's so much I want to do, and I'm making excuses because I'm in school, and there are people that are in school full time just like me that also have full-time jobs. Well, about a week later, that same classmate posted a picture of herself in the hospital. And here I am feeling inspired and wanting to live up to that, just to see that it wasn't working for her. She was working herself so much that she ended up in the hospital. She's well now. When I say well, I mean alive. I don't know the ins and outs of her life, but she is alive. I hope that she is well and has recovered from that hospital visit. And I use that example because that could have also been me. I could have been exhausting myself. And honestly, at that time, I was really exhausted. Not to the point that I needed to go to the hospital, but I was exhausted because I'm paying for it. I've been paying for it since then, and I'm getting better physically. But my goodness, when I look at why some days I'm so sore and why some days I just don't feel like doing anything, I'm thinking, oh, well, that's because I did so much back then that now I'm just so burnt out mentally from doing things to the point that I just want to sit and just so-called do nothing. When I say nothing, I mean more than sitting, because I think sitting is something. Sometimes sitting is enough. But there are times, honestly, where I feel guilty for sitting because I still carry that narrative that I should be doing more. And I have to keep working through that and reminding myself that sitting is enough for right now. And when it's time to do more than sitting, I will get there. But for right now, allow sitting to be enough. So I get it. As I said at the beginning of this video, resting is something that I am actively working on. And before I get into that, I will keep going with one more verse for, or two more verses for this video. Matthew 11, verse 28 through 29. Come to me, all who are weary and heavily burdened by religious rituals that provide no peace, and I will give you rest, refreshing your souls with salvation. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, following me as my disciple, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest, renewal, blessed, quiet for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and my burden is light. That was verse 30. I'll add that one in because it stood out to me and I love what it says. So, take my yoke upon you. And then he says, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Okay, look. Jesus is calling all who are weary and heavily burdened. He is saying, I will give you rest, refreshing your souls with salvation. Imagine just laying your head in the arms of Jesus, and he takes that heavy burden and gives you his burden that he says is easier and lighter. How sweet and loving does that sound? That he is willing to take our burden and give us a lighter one. To carry the yoke of Jesus that is easy and lighter. For you will find rest for your souls. Again, even Jesus is inviting us to rest. Why won't we rest? He is inviting us, he is calling us to rest. All who are weary and heavily burdened, come and rest. It's there. That invitation is just so sweet. It sounds like cookies, warm milk and cookies. Sounds like apple pie and sweet potato pie and the scent of cinnamon and brown sugar just calling you in saying, come on, some cornbread, biscuits. No, I'm not hungry. Those are just some of the things I love dearly. So whatever you love, whatever invites you in and is sweet and soothing and gentle and comforting, picture that as how Jesus is calling you and saying, come and rest. You are heavily burdened. Sit down, enjoy this thing here. Find some comfort. Kick your feet up. These three verses get me so emotional because I think it is just so beautiful that Jesus loves us that much, that he knows our hearts. He can see our burdens. He knows how much it weighs on us. He sees how weary and tired we are. And he's giving us permission to rest because he has a calling and a purpose for us. He knows that it will not be easy all the time. He knows that pain will come. And he is saying, just rest for a little bit. Because what comes next, you have to prepare for. And how can you be prepared for what's next if you're not recovering from what you just went through? Especially for those who were once like me. Maybe you are like this now, where you are afraid to rest because of what people will think. Going back to, you're called lazy, people are criticizing you and judging you, and maybe you're called weak for needing to cry for a little bit. Maybe people expect you to move on from something and to go through your grieving process sooner, and maybe you're just not there yet. It is time to remove those expectations that do not work for you. Why should you have to do something in someone else's timing? Who set that standard? Who says you have to go by those standards? Because we have a choice. We don't have to do anything that we don't want to. Sometimes we make these choices. Sometimes we make sacrifices. But really, we don't have to. Now, if you choose to, my hope is that you make that choice and your heart is in the right place, that you're doing it with the best of intentions. But if you are doing something just to prove that you are strong enough to go through the day without rest, who are you benefiting? Because those same people that are talking about you, let's say you prove your point, you prove that you don't need rest, you can get through this, and what else are they going to throw at you? They're going to say, oh, that was cute, and okay, you may have done this over here, but what about this? Can you go 2 days without sleep? And can you do all this in 2 days without sleep? You will constantly be jumping through hoops to prove a point to people that have unrealistic standards. I get it. Being judged and criticized, it sucks and it stings for a moment. And another hope I have is that you get through it by not caring as much, by letting people talk about you and understanding that you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Because if someone wants you to go through extreme lengths just to prove a point, just to give you some validation, and usually it's not even that, you can still prove that you are capable, and people will not even give you the satisfaction of validating you. They will still talk down on you. My hope is that that is not worth it for you, that you just don't care, that you are not willing to entertain any of that nonsense because it does not serve you. So, what have I been working on? Let me tell you. I have been working on going to bed earlier. This past week, it's been between 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. It has been great. Why have I been working on that? Let me tell you. Because typically, I am up until 2 or 3 in the morning. And then when I try to wake up in the morning, I'm too tired because I'm functioning on 3-4 hours of sleep. That's not the worst of it. Sometimes I am just up until 7 or 8 in the morning because I'm just not tired. Even though my body feels heavy and resting is needed, but I'm not sleepy enough to go to sleep. Why does this happen? Let me tell you. Because if I'm up until 3, 4 in the morning, 7 or 8 in the morning, that means I am likely going to need a nap throughout the day. What happens when I take naps? Let me tell you. I stay up until 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the morning. So, guess what I learned? Let me tell you. I learned that I have to eliminate naps. Now, my mom and my fiance make fun of me because they say, that's not a nap what you're taking. Let me tell y'all how long my naps are. 2 to 3 hours. That's my nap. So now, if I need a nap, I am doing my absolute best with the Lord's strength to take 15 to 20 minutes, at most 30 minutes, but my desire is 15 to 20 because I know if I go over that, I'm going to be up late at night. And I don't want to be up late at night because most of the work I do is during the day. And I had no energy to do what I needed to do through the day. I would do one task and needed to sit on the couch for a little bit, do another task, maybe go lay down and take that nap. I was not able to get through many tasks because I was so tired. So, with the Lord's strength, I had to prevent myself from taking naps on some days and then implement 15 to 20 minutes if necessary. And this has been the first week in a very long time that I have been able to go to bed early and rise early by 6 p.m. That's my desire. I like to be up a little bit before the sunrise. I like to be up a few hours before I actually start working because I like to have those few hours in the morning to myself. My preference is to not have every single day of waking up and jumping into work. That's not my jam. I like to breathe and woosah and recover from sleep and just process the day before I get into it. Or just soak in the fact that I woke up and made it to a new day. I have to adjust my mood and prepare my thoughts, especially if dreams or nightmares were a little funky. And sometimes that's difficult if I'm just jumping straight into work. So I love those mornings to be still and meditate and pray and journal, read the Bible and other daily devotionals I have, enjoy a nice beverage, and then I'll be prepared to do the task that I set for that day. It has been working. I've also been incorporating more stretching throughout the week to help recover from my gym workouts because back in the day when I was a gym junkie, it was mostly heavy lifting, maybe stretching for a minute or two before the workout. I was not making as much time for stretching as I needed to. So that's what I've been paying for lately. And it's getting better though. And with all of that being said, I know how important rest is. It hasn't been the easiest because, like I said, with the Lord's strength, there are times where I am dozing off and it is only 2 in the afternoon and I'm looking at how much time is left and I'm thinking, well, dang, it's only 2 and I'm trying to stay up so I can go to bed by 9 or 10. That's 7 or 8 hours I have to try to stay up, and I'm just thinking, Lord, I want to stay up, but I need your help because if I take a nap, the naps that I'm used to, it will be over with. And I know. Does this sound like hypocrisy? Probably, because I just told y'all earlier to get rest when necessary. And here I am saying I'm not taking naps because I want to stay up through the day so that I can go to bed early at night. Well, let me tell you why. I don't consider it hypocrisy because of the rest that I get. I may not be asleep, but I am resting. And by rest, I also mean, let's say I'm sitting on the couch watching TV. At that time, I may also be folding laundry, or I may be doing some notes for work and not physically exerting myself too much. Some days I may only have enough energy to clean the kitchen, and maybe the bathroom I have to wait till the next day. Or I like to figure out what I have energy for. And that is also included in resting, I believe, is not exerting myself fully. Let's say you are used to working 8 hours a day, and maybe today is just a day where you're not able to give those 8 hours and you need a little grace period of just working 3 to 4 hours. I think that is also okay. So resting doesn't resting can also mean you're just not doing everything you're used to. And there are days where I may get through the whole kitchen and the bathroom and the living room and all the laundry. And there are days where all of that just sounds like it sucks to do, and I just want to sit on the couch and stare at the wall. So, I'm not a hypocrite. Thank you very much. I'm sure you all get it though. The point is just to rest, take some burdens and some loads off. It doesn't all have to happen now. Whoever's trying to convince you of that, close your ears to them, open your ears to the Word of God. Look at all that God did in 6 days. God wasn't pressuring himself to create the whole world and all the host of the world in one day. If God spread out his work, why can't we? Because God is not expecting us to do it all now. So, tune out those voices, all the noise and chaos. Open your ears to God. Because when you follow him, he will give you peace and rest, and he will lead you down the right path. And he wants us to trust him. That is the whole point. If you can trust God, you will see that he will not mislead you, because he knows. I just picture God watching over us, and when we're sleeping, and when you watch babies and they look so cute, you just want to pinch their cheeks. I think that's how precious we are to God when we are resting, and when we're happy and joyful, and when our spirit is joyful and experiencing bliss. I guarantee that pleases God, because he wants that for us. God does not like us in pain. And because he knows that we will experience pain, he wants to take it away for us. He wants to make it bearable for us so that we can get to that place of bliss and eternal peace. So, keep me lifted in genuine and sincere prayer, because I want to be consistent with this sleep routine. Some days, and I'll just say, even this week, I did go to bed early one night. Maybe this was yesterday. So Wednesday evening, I went to bed by 10 o'clock. Thursday morning, I was up between 3 and 4, and eventually took a short nap, maybe around 2 or 3 o'clock. And it was a struggle. And I use that example because it wasn't perfect. I did not sleep through the night and through the morning until 6 o'clock. I was up before 6 o'clock a.m. And I am okay with that. I am okay for exceptions to the rule because I know every day is different, but I want more consistent rest. I don't want all of my days to be so choppy with sleep and only getting 3 to 4 hours because I know I function best with more. So I'm okay with days that I don't sleep as much and maybe I have to be up before 6 o'clock, or maybe there's days where I'm not able to go to sleep until after that 10 o'clock mark. That is okay. But I'm used to being a night owl, and I've tried to make the best of it by not complaining that I wasn't sleeping and just doing what I can with the time that I have. And it works to a degree. And because most of the work, as I said, is done during the day, I need to function best during the day. So this is what works for me. Maybe you are someone that actually works nights, and so maybe during the day is the time that you need rest so you can function better at night. So kudos to you. I've been there before where I used to work nights and I hated it. I hated it. I'll tell you why I hated it. Because even when I worked nights, there were things I still did during the day, and sometimes places close by a certain time, and so I sacrificed sleep to try to go get things done and before they closed, and then it's time to work. So do what works for you. I'm going to do what works for me. And so far this has been working. I'm happy because my true strength is apparently fighting through the urge to take a nap during the day. And it has not been the easiest thing. So I'm making the best of it. And I hope that you have been encouraged. Give yourself some grace because unlearning all of the beliefs that don't work for you can take time. So be gentle with yourself. This is not a time to beat yourself up for caring about what other people think and being hard on yourself for all of these expectations. It just become aware of it, acknowledge it, and release whatever you need to release. So that is all I have for you all today. As always, with love, my prayer is that you can find rest, even just for one day. You don't have to be so ambitious that you're trying to plan a whole day of not doing anything but being a couch potato. Like I said, start with what's new for you. If you're used to doing five things in one day, maybe allow yourself to only do 3 or 4 things. Celebrate that. Allow that to be enough. Allow that to be the progress that you are making. and see where that gets you. See if you even like it. Maybe you're someone that likes doing 5 things every day. However, it's less about how much you're doing, and I think more about how you feel while doing it. If you're not feeling your best, if you're not functioning as your best self, sounds like it's time to reevaluate and allow for change. I know change can be scary. I know there are a lot of unknowns surrounded with change. And focus less on what can go wrong and more on what can go right. Focus on how great God is and the ways that He can bless you with bigger and better and greater with the change that comes. Because if you just stick to what you know, you won't get the best results. You'll likely get the same outcomes or worse. And if that's all right for you, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're sick and tired of that, if you want change, trust God. He will take care of the rest. So, I am going to sign off. No, I am not going to take a nap. I promise. I'm actually alert today. Today is a good day that I actually slept 11 hours, y'all. I allowed myself to. I did actually wake up at 6 a.m. and I went back to sleep. But I don't feel guilty about that. It felt great because I could not believe that I actually got 8 hours of sleep. I went to bed right around 10, woke up at 6 a.m. And then I said, well, geez, I need more sleep. All right, I'm just going to go to sleep. And then I officially woke up around 9 a.m. and I couldn't believe it. So, again, exceptions, allow for exceptions. So, today I am alert and the sun is shining. It is 5 o'clock for me, so I think I'll make it. I'm confident I'll make it without needing a nap at this point. So, that's all for me. Like, if this video was helpful for you, if it was encouraging, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you can receive updates for when I post and do a bunch of other great things, and share with the people that need to hear it. If you know someone that doesn't know how to sit down, find ways to drop this message to them and help others as much as you can with whatever you give. Give your best, hope for the best, and with love. Until next time, bye-bye.